Okay, so we are starting. It has started recording. Let me stop viewing the chat. Otherwise, it may be a distraction for me. Yeah. So good. Welcome back. Uh, Today is lecture 3. As you can see, the course is going fast. We just started the other day, and already we are in lecture 3. We may have 20 plus lectures. So we are going quite fast. So, yeah, good. So, as I said, all your comments, you let me know either directly in the class or in the interactive session or by email or on Moodle, etc. Without spending more time, let me get to the slides. So, let me start sharing the screen. And one of you could please confirm that you can see the slides.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, visible.
Yes, sir.
Very good. So day one on Monday, what did we do? We did some examples and we also introduced this word order and we also checked, we also defined what is linear differential equation, linear ordinary differential equation. And in all our examples, we checked what the order is and whether the equation is linear or non-linear. So you're comfortable with that. In the second lecture on Tuesday, we started attacking this problem of trying to solve a differential equation, and we took the most elementary type things which you have already seen in +2 or +1. I don't know when you had differential equations. And what were the two words? One is separable, the easiest kind of differential equations, separable equations. There, a simple integration did the job. And then you had what we called homogeneous differential equations, where the coefficients, so you have an equation of the form mxy plus nxy dy by dx equal to 0. And this mxy and nxy are homogeneous functions of the same degree. And we said that it need not be an integer, though homogeneous is defined with respect to an integer. It need not be that. Basically, the point was the substitution y equal to vx should make it separable. And we did some examples.
Slides are not.
Slide is not visible.
Yes.
Yeah, you can see the slide, right? I haven't started moving. I'm just speaking. So what you see is the title slide right now, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that's fine. So it's not your problem. I haven't moved yet. I'm just recalling the last lecture verbally. I hope it's okay. Pay attention. So homogeneous, yeah. So whenever y equal to vx works, it converts that to separable equation. Then you know how to solve separable equation. Today we are going to do a third type, a third method, which is called exact ordinary differential equations. In fact, this topic is very, I really like this topic, and I hope you will also really like this thing because this recalls many things from your calculus class, multivariable calculus 111. Okay, so the key words today, first one is exact, and the second one is IF. What is IF?
Integrating factor.
Integrating factor, it's written here. Okay, so I will define what is an exact equation, and we will have an easy method of solving exact equations. Equation, I mean ordinary differential equation. Okay, so we will have a method to solve exact ordinary differential equations, and sometimes the given equation may not be exact, but you have a way of converting it into exact, and that method is called an integrating factor. You multiply by a certain factor, and then integration becomes easier. It becomes exact, and then you can integrate. Let's start. Okay, so once more, let me formally recall. In the last class, we saw how to solve separable ODEs. So separable was what? Mxy is a function of x alone, and nxy is a function of y alone. Both variables don't come. That was separable. And also ODEs which can be put into separable form, this way homogeneous, into this form y1 equal to f of y by x. Then y equal to vx does the job. Okay. So if the DE is separable, how do you solve? Just integrate, nothing more. And otherwise, homogeneous can be converted to separable by the substitution y equal to vx. And then you are in separable and you know how to solve separable. We also saw a separable ODE naturally coming up in nature. No, can you just recall what was this nature calculation that we have done? Can one of you quickly tell me what is the next word in the slide?
Escape speed.
Escape velocity, yes. Oh, this we computed. There was a natural ODE coming there, which happened to be separable. Today, we will look at another class of first order ODEs, which are called exact ordinary differential equations. I have a feeling that even this you might have seen in +2. Is that correct? I don't know whether this word you have seen, but this
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good. So maybe, you know, today and maybe even the next lecture is something which you might have known, but still we will recall. Okay. So a first order ODE of this form, m of xy plus n of xy times what is y1? Y1 is dy by dx. Sometimes I write y prime, sometimes I write y1, sometimes I write dy by dx. So this is called exact. This is the definition. Can one of you tell me if you recall?
Sir,
Okay.
I don't think exact ODE was there in 12.
Okay, anyway, here is the definition. There is a function u of xy. So this is a function of two variable, nicely differentiable, etc. So for multivariable, you have partial derivatives, right? You can take derivative with respect to x and derivative with respect to y. So you can consider del u by del x. You can consider del u by del y. And exact, the definition is del u by del x is your first coefficient, m of xy, and del u by del y is your second coefficient, n of xy. Is the definition clear? So given a differential equation of this form, you say that it is exact. This is the definition. Suppose there is a function of two variables. We are denoting it by u of x comma y. Take del u by del x, that is the first coefficient. Del u by del y, that is the second coefficient. You see that m and n are not interchangeable. You can't interchange it. M has a meaning, n has another meaning. What is the property of n? N is the coefficient of dy by dx. M is the other coefficient. Okay. So then you call it exact. And recall from your 111 course that if you uxy has continuous first partial derivatives, you have the notion of du. By du, you mean del u by del x times dx plus del u by del y times dy. Okay. So the given equation, now you can write, so mxy is del u by del x and nxy y1 is del u by del y dy by dx. So if the ODE is exact, then you consider this differential form, right? You have seen no Green's theorem and all that, pdx plus qdy, such things you have seen. So you consider mdx plus ndy. What is mdx plus ndy? What is mdx? Mdx is del u by del x dx, right? Because del u by del x is m and n is del u by del y. So nxy dy is del u by del y dy. So what is this differential form mdx plus ndy? It is del u by del x dx plus del u by del y dy. That is same as du. So the given equation is giving you du equal to 0. But if du equal to 0, what is the solution? Just integrate. So you will get u is a constant. So integrating du equal to 0 with respect to u, you get uxy is c. And that is an implicit solution to the given equation. Okay. So if it is exact, so you have made this definition so that you can easily solve. Okay. So if it is exact, then you can easily solve it. So let's see an example. Oh, okay, and this also is a method that you have done in 111, right? You have seen, you know, you had this method of calculating the potential. It's the same method. This is just another language. So the function uxy, do you remember this? How to find this uxy?
Thus, so
What you do is,
We compare both.
this is given to you and this is also given
you
to
integrate
you.
with this.
Yes, I think you are right. So choose one of those. Suppose you choose this, you integrate this equation with respect to
X.
With respect to x. With respect to dx, you integrate, you solve that thing, and you will get an equation, and that equation you differentiate with respect to
Y.
y, and equate with this, and that would be enough to solve it. Okay, so this is a method that you know from calculus. So sometimes, by inspection, if some easy things without doing anything, this is the answer. If that works, fine. Or by the following method. Step 1, integrate del u by del x as m with respect to x. So you will get uxy as integral of m of xy dx plus a constant. But that constant is constant with respect to x. So that constant possibly can have y in it. That can happen. It's a constant as far as x is concerned. So you got this equation. Ky is a constant of integration. And step 2 is differentiate this equation. Differentiate this equation with respect to y. So what will you get? You will get del u by del y equal to del by del y of this thing. This you would have already integrated, plus k prime y. So you will get del u by del y as k prime y meaning dk by dy, plus del by del y of this thing which you have already found out, and you know that this equal to n. And from this, you can find out what is k prime y and therefore what is ky. So we use this to determine ky, and hence you have got u, right? Once you find ky, then you have found out u. And what is the answer? U of xy equal to a constant. If there's an initial value given, you can evaluate that constant also. I hope the method is clear. Let's do an example.
Sir,
Yeah.
you said before u of x comma y equal to constant is all constant.
Yes.
Then if it is constant, then del u by del x will be 0. No?
No, because what you have is u of xy equal to constant as your final solution. Okay, suppose you have x square plus y square equal to constant. What is the corresponding differential equation? Corresponding differential equation is 2x plus 2y dy by dx equal to 0.
You mean that it's a graph, something like it's a
Yes,
equation.
yes. So u of xy equal to u of xy is a function of x and y. That equal to constant will be an implicit function, no, in x and y.
Yes, sir.
Like x plus y equal to constant, or x square plus y square equal to constant, or sin x times sin y is constant. That kind of a thing. Okay, when you differentiate, you have the differential equation. Here we are doing the other way. Differential equation is given, and if it is exact, this method will give you what the implicit solution is. Let's do an example. This equation is given to you. Can you tell me what is the implicit solution here? Of course, it's coming in the slides, but it will be good if you can tell me. Maybe you don't even need pen and paper, or take a pen and paper.
X square plus xy square plus some constant.
X square plus xy square is equal to a constant, right? If x square plus xy square is a constant, if you take derivative, x square will give you 2x, xy square will give you y square, that is the first part. And x square plus xy square, if you take derivative with respect to y, x square will give you 0 and xy square will give you 2xy. So you are right. Okay. So this you can do by inspection. Consider the function x square plus xy square. Note that del u by del x is this, del u by del y is this. So that is the solution. Okay. Suppose you want to do this by the method that we have done. Even, implicitly, that's what you might have done unknowingly. But suppose formally you want to do the method. How do you do this? Can someone tell me? What is m and what is n? M is
2x plus y square.
n is
2xy.
2xy. And what is our first step? Integrate m with respect to x. You could have started with n also, but we are doing with m. So integrate m with respect to x. So integral of 2x plus y square times x. Integral of 2x dx is x square, and integral of y square dx is xy square. So 2x x square plus xy square plus a function of A function of
y.
y, what we call ky. So you got x square plus xy square plus ky. That's what you got in the first step. Step 2 is differentiate with respect to y. So x square becomes 0, xy square becomes 2xy, ky becomes k prime y. So you got 2xy plus k prime y equal to 2xy. So you got k prime y equal to 0. So what is ky? Ky is a real constant. There's no y also in it. Okay, so the integral of mxy gives you one thing. Differentiate this answer with respect to y. Done? Yes. Okay, I hope it's clear. Is this clear to
Sir,
everybody?
sir, in a question, will it be given that it is an exact form?
No, maybe not.
Sir, then how can we apply this method? Just by intuition?
Experience. That's why you should do a lot of problems.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay, so you have to check. I mean, you know, when you do enough problems, see, that is the that is the real challenge in this course. By the end of the course, you would have seen so many methods. And if we give an equation, how do you know which method to apply? There is no algorithm for it, right? So this is purely from your experience in working out so many problems. Clear? Sometimes, suppose it also depends how we want. Suppose we want to ask you a very, a elementary question is, not so many marks. Then we might say, solve this exact equation. But sometimes, we may also want to ask a tough question, no? So we may not tell you that it is exact. It's for you to find out, okay? In fact, differential equations is a question maker's delight. It's very easy to make difficult question. It's easy to make a difficult question in this course. So now we have seen exactness, and I want to ask you a question from your calculus class, but I will ask you it after the next slide. Even now you might answer it. Some of you will answer it, but if I ask you after 2 minutes, all of you will answer it. Okay, so let me continue. The notion of a closed form. Okay, what is a closed form? So this differential mxy dx plus nxy dy is said to be closed. Okay, this is the definition. Closed is the definition if del m by del y. So the coefficient of dx you are differentiating with respect to y, and coefficient of dy you are differentiating with respect to x. I think one of you is unmuted. Please mute. So coefficient of m you differentiate with respect to y, and coefficient of y you differentiate with respect to x, and suppose they are equal, then you say that this is a closed form. Okay, this differential form is closed. In other words, m subscript y, this is the partial derivative with respect to y, is equal to n subscript x. Now let me ask my second question. My first question I will ask you after this. Does this remind you of something in multivariable?
Curl is 0.
Curl is 0. Curl of what is 0? Curl is defined for a vector field, right? What is your vector field for which curl is 0?
M of x comma y, x cap plus n of x comma y cap.
Correct. F of x comma y equal to m comma n. M of x comma y comma n of x comma y, its curl is 0. So closed is same as saying in your calculus language, my definition of closed is exactly same as your definition in calculus of a vector field of curl 0, a two-dimensional vector field of curl 0. Agree? Now let me ask you the question. What did exactness remind you of?
Exactness, closed form, both are look like same.
No. Closed is this. Del m by del y is del n by del x. So curl is 0. Curl of that vector field is 0.
If I take m equal to del u by del x, then it's satisfying now, everything.
Yeah, but what is exact?
M comma
go back to the definition of exact.
It is the gradient of the function. M comma n is the gradient.
Like a directional derivative.
Yeah, so gradient. Okay, you had this inverted triangle, no, gradient. So exact is same as saying, so the differential form is exact if the vector field is the gradient of another vector field. I mean, gradient of a potential function, right? U is what is called the potential in calculus or physics?
Scalar field, sir. You use a
Scalar field, but did you call this particular, when you solve grad?
I mean, it's an example. In an example, we take it as
Potential.
potential.
So
potential is
scalar
force.
field,
It
correct.
become force.
Correct. So uxy is the scalar field whose gradient is m comma n. So exact is same as it is the gradient of something, and closed is same as curl is 0. Agree? So this is all recalling your calculus. So exact is same as it is the gradient of something, and closed is same as its curl is 0.
Sir, we are taking the curl of gradient.
Yeah.
Curl of gradient is always 0.
Always 0. So in our language, what will be your result?
I mean, if the closed exact ODEs are always closed.
Exact is always closed. So you have proved, my next result already. Okay. So exact is always closed. That's a result. And this result you already know because of your calculus class. So this is what my next proposition is. I'm very happy that, one of you have guessed my next result. So suppose m and n and their first order partial derivatives exist and are continuous. So this hypothesis you need in order to prove this. We have, if something is exact, then it is closed. And you already know the proof, right? Because you have already seen it in 111. You have proved that curl of grad is always 0. Curl of gradient is always 0. I will recall the proof. Okay. And if D is convex, then any closed form is exact. You have seen this proof also? On a convex domain, if a vector field has 0 curl, then there is a potential. There is a scalar field whose gradient is that. Have you seen this also?
The result was stated but not proved.
Not proved? Okay. So let me ask one more question. Okay. So we don't need the full force of it, but you need to know it. I thought you would have proved it in calculus, but I will verbally give you a proof. If you want, I can explain it again in the interactive session. Okay. So proof of first is, I'm recalling the proof. You have already seen it in calculus. It is given to be exact. So by definition, there is a use as that m is del u by del x and n is del u by del y. You agree? That is the definition of exact. Therefore, now you're claiming that it is closed. Closed means what? You have to show that m subscript y equal to n subscript x. But what is m subscript y? It is del square u by del y del x. And n subscript x is del square u by del x del y. Maybe here I should have written del x del y and here I should have written del y del x or something. Doesn't matter. Okay, del square u by del y del x and del square u by del x del y. No, this is correct. So I have del u by del x and I'm doing del by del y of that, which is my notation, this one. And I have del u by del y and I am taking del by del x of that. That's my notation for this. Okay. Now, these two things are looking different. One is del square u by del y del x and the other is del square u by del x del y. But do you agree that these two are equal?
Yes, sir.
Why?
Yes, sir.
Claros theorem.
Okay, you called it Claros theorem. Very good. I did not know this name, or maybe I knew it long ago. I just searched in Google just before the class started and Google told me it is called Claros theorem. I used to call it the theorem on mixed partials. Okay, but it has a name, Claros theorem, right? So that is where you are using this thing. First order partial derivatives exist and are continuous. That is why this is true, right? Claros theorem needs this assumption that partial derivatives exist and are continuous, and then this is true. So I called it the theorem on mixed partials. This is what you call Claros theorem. So what is this? You have already answered. My is nx, and therefore this is closed. Okay, very good. So we have recalled the proof. And the other way, yeah, this is the same proof that curl of grad is 0. Okay, so I have a, sometimes I like plain English, like a slogan, okay, so that it is easy to remember. So grad, I will say grad instead of gradient, because then, like a poem, you can recite it. Curl of grad is 0. Okay, curl of, what this means is, if something is a gradient, then its curl is 0. I prefer to say instead of this, a more memorable way to put this is grad is curl free. It has no curl, meaning curl is 0. Okay, I prefer this sentence, though it's not mathematical. It is plain English. Okay, grad is curl free. You agree? There's a way to remember this, that grad is always curl free, and you can ask this question if something is a closed form, then you know that the curl is 0. You consider this vector field. By definition, it is continuously differentiable, that is given to you. And what is its curl? Curl you can compute. The curl is given by this formula. This is your notation of curl. And this is ijk, right? This was the definition of curl, right? In two-dimensional, this agrees with nx minus my times a unit vector k in the z direction. But this is 0 because nx equal to my. Okay, so curl is 0. As D is convex, this is the result that you recalled. Curl free is grad. Grad is always curl free. But curl free is not always grad. You remember these things when I recall? Grad is always curl free, but curl free is not always grad. Curl free is grad if your domain is nice. And one example of being nice is convex. What is convex?
If x1 and x2 are in D, then tx1 plus 1 minus tx2.
Yes. In plain English, what is convex? What you said, then plain English, how will you say it?
If I make a line joining points x1 and x2 in D, then all
Yes.
points on
So-
those lines also
take-
line.
Correct. So take any 2 points in your domain, the straight line joining that is completely contained inside your domain. Okay. So that is convex. Convex is a nice shape, and on nice shapes, the converse is true. Curl free is grad. And some of you might have seen this proof. Some of you might not have seen. We will recall. So there is a function phi such that h is grad phi. Curl free is grad, h is curl free, therefore it is grad of something. And grad phi means phi x comma phi y. Therefore, there is a function phi such that phi x is m, phi y is n. That is the meaning of saying this is exact, right? There is a function u such that del u by del x is m and del u by del y is n. And that function is this phi. So what is not proved right now? Proof of this, right? Curl free is grad. So that I had asked as a question. Let me ask this question. I don't know whether you have done it. So we have not shown, we have recalled that on convex domains, this is true. But is this true for more general regions? Something need not be convex, but still it is true. Have you seen this? Louder, I think you got it right, but I didn't hear you clearly. Path connected is not enough. Path connected is not enough.
Simply
connected. Simply connected. So did you see this? Have you seen simply connected in calculus course?
Yes, sir.
Yes, in everyone.
We had it in 111.
In 111. Then you might have seen a proof of this also, no? Curl free is grad.
Yes, sir. Ma'am derived Stokes theorem and then she proved this.
Absolutely. That's where it comes. So because
Actually, we didn't have a proof. We just, it was more of a result.
but at least some words about the proof may not be rigorous, but the idea.
Yeah, I think like for like Green's theorem, we had done a more special proof.
Yes, we need only Green's theorem. We don't need Stokes theorem because we are in two-dimensional. We have only x and y. So Stokes theorem is same as Green's theorem. So Green's theorem, yes. Okay, so it's a corollary to the Green's theorem that, okay, what are they called? You have already answered, simply connected. And some examples, maybe you can tell me, but maybe, we are running a bit late. So let us skip that. You have seen these things in calculus. How did you prove this in MA 111? If you want me to recall the proof verbally, I can do that at the end of the class because I need to do some examples of, I think we have done all the theory that we wanted to do today, but we should do some examples. Let me run through the examples if I have time remaining. And if you don't recall this proof, tell me. I hope I will recall the proof. Okay, let's see. Otherwise, I will Google in front of you. That's one good thing about online classes. No, if I am stuck, I can just open Google and search and show you the proof. Okay, I will do that. But I think this proof I will recall. It's one of my favorite proofs, so I know this proof. Okay, so remark, it's okay. So, suppose, I have said so many things quite fast. When I get excited, I tend to speak a bit fast. Okay, sorry about that. And but here is the remark. It's okay for our course, for our exams, And for our questions, if you don't know these things, suppose you don't know simply connected, you don't know the proof of curl free is grad, it doesn't matter for this course. But why do I say this? I'm recalling this only because these are some of the most beautiful concepts that you see in mathematics in your BTech or your dual degree, whatever. In your 4 or 5 years, you will see some very, very beautiful mathematics which you would not have seen in +2. I'm sure in +2 you would not have seen simply connected regions and Green's theorem and this proof and all that. And these are very nice concepts. You know, it's extremely beautiful for the following reason. You must have seen this in calculus. You know, computing curl, computing grad, these are all, you know, about derivatives, differential and all that. But you know, the answer of curl free is grad is not depending on your function, not depending on the calculus that you do. The answer is in terms of the shape of your domain. You know, whether your domain is convex or simply connected, etc., is not about your function, not about derivatives, right? On the face of it, it is something about how your shape is looking like. So it is geometry. And what you're doing calculus is analysis, functions. You're studying functions, differentiability, partial derivatives, all these things. Okay. So these two things are intimately connected. That, you know, your analysis, you're analyzing differential equations, you're analyzing, you know, calculus things like derivative, etc., is connected to the shape of your domain. It's such a beautiful connection. And mathematics becomes exciting when seemingly unrelated things, we understand that they are connected. Okay, so it's a very beautiful topic at the undergraduate level itself. And that's the reason why I'm recalling, not because, you know, we really need these things. I mean, we do need, but not for your exams. Okay, so let's try. Solve this DE. So now you know it has to be exact because it is coming in the slide of exact equations. But in the exam, if such a thing is given, of course, you know, you need much more experience. So take this to be M and take this to be N. Yeah, so exactness, if you have to check, our method is, you know, a bit complicated. You have to integrate M dx. Suppose, you know, a question is given in the exam. M plus ny1 is 0. And you get this feeling, okay, look, this is not separable. Maybe this is not homogeneous. What if it is exact? You get a feeling it could be exact. And suppose you check integral M dx and then differentiate it with respect to y and do all that, and suppose it doesn't work out, you would have wasted a lot of time, right? It will take some time, no? Such a function, you have to integrate, then you have to differentiate with respect to y. All this will take some time, no? However fast you do. Agree or not agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And at the end of it, you know, we haven't told you it is exact. And suppose it is not exact, a lot of time is gone, no?
We'll check whether it is open or.
And there's nothing called open. It's closed or not closed. That's what you meant by open, not closed?
Yeah, we'll check whether it is closed or.
Yeah, check whether it's closed or not, which is easier, right?
Yes.
Is it easier to check closed or not?
Yes.
Because only derivative is involved, and derivative is a bit easier than integrating.
Yes, sir.
So check whether this is closed or not. Of course, you know that closed doesn't mean exact. It depends on your domain. Okay, but still it's better to check, because if it is closed, you have a feeling, possibly it is exact. Okay, so my is nx, but practically it will work. Practically it will always work, as I will explain right now, or maybe you have already seen it. So check that my is nx. I have left that checking for you. You can check my is nx, and therefore this is closed. Can we conclude that it is exact? What's your answer?
The domain is not mentioned.
Yeah, therefore what is the domain?
R.
R or
R2.
R2. So this is the point that I wanted to stress, that when we don't mention the domain, what is the answer? Many times we will not mention the domain. If we don't mention the domain, what is the answer for the domain? I'm sure you will give a wrong answer now. Tell me, if I don't mention the domain, what is the domain?
Wherever the function is defined.
Okay, so you have given the right answer. You have given the right answer. I was expecting a wrong answer that you will say R2. R2 is not the not the always correct answer. The always correct answer is the maximal domain on which the function is defined. For example, this function is defined on the unit on the closed disk. This function is also on the closed unit disk. This function is also defined on a bigger disk. This function is also defined on a much bigger disk, and this function is defined on the whole plane, and therefore the domain is the whole plane. Is our understanding clear? Whenever the domain is not defined, the domain is understood to be the maximum possible domain where the function is defined. Okay, so now can you conclude it is exact?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Why? Because R2 is
Simply connected.
convex
And
or
another-
simply connected. Simply connected. Simply connected is the correct answer, because on non-convex domains also you can conclude, because it will be simply connected. It could be simply connected. Okay, so we can conclude it is exact, and therefore you can solve using the method of exact things. So you need to find uxy such that ux is m, uy is 1n. In this problem, will you do it by inspection or by the method?
Inspection.
Inspection, you can do this?
Yes, sir.
Oh, then very good. I would not have done it by inspection. Okay, if you can do it by inspection, fine. Yeah. So I will do it by step. The two steps. Step 1 is uxy is integrate your m. M is y cos x plus 2x ey dx. And what is this answer? Y cos x dx is y sin x.
1 sin
And
x plus
Ey
x squared
is
e
x
power y.
square ey plus ky. So y sin x plus x square e power y plus ky, and differentiate this with respect to y. So del u by del y is y sin x, the derivative is sin x square e power y, derivative is x square e power y, and ky, the derivative is k prime y. And this you equate with n. What is n? N is sin x plus x square e power y minus 1. Sin x plus x square e power y minus 1. So k prime y is what? K prime y is
Minus
1.
Minus
And therefore, what is ky?
Minus 1.
Ky is
minus y
C.
plus c.
Minus
y plus a constant.
Minus y.
Yeah, minus y plus
Plus
a constant. But plus a constant doesn't matter, because anyway you're going to put a constant later. So you got uxy equal to y sin x plus x square e power y minus y. And the answer is u equal to a constant. So you have got an implicit solution, right? This kind of an implicit thing, it's difficult to make it explicit, right? Because y is coming as exponential and y is coming here, etc. You can leave it like that. Okay, so you have got an implicit solution to the given differential equation. So, okay, little bit more theory I need to do. Integrating factor. Some of you know already what is an integrating factor?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
What is it?
Factor we multiply by, so it becomes a perfect, like it becomes
Meaning
exact.
Yeah, it becomes exact. Absolutely. So suppose you have a first order ODE, and suppose it is not exact. Okay, let's derive the theory. Exact meaning, so from this you can conclude my is not nx, right?
Yeah.
Correct, because if my is, well, not quite, but suppose you are on a nice domain, and my equal to nx on a nice domain would have meant exact. So because it is not exact, my not nx, you are assuming that your domain is nice. Only after that you are saying this. So by exactness, we will always check for closeness, because what will happen is, suppose you have a punctured disk. Puncture, there is a point where the function is not defined, etc. Yeah, no. You have to have a nice domain. Assume that. Okay. So suppose you're not getting this. My is not nx. In this situation, what you can do is you assume that there is a factor with which if you multiply mu times m plus mu times n equal to mu times 0, which is 0. Suppose this becomes exact. Okay. Suppose this becomes exact. And exact, so what were our conditions? Exact is always closed, right? Independent of the domain. Exact is always closed. Closed becomes exact only under some nice shape. So suppose, so forget this. I don't need this. It is not exact is given to you. And suppose after multiplying by something, you are getting it to be
Exact.
So am I writing the wrong words here? Everything I am talking about closeness, right? Right? This condition is about closeness, no? And this condition is
Yes,
also
sir.
about closeness. So maybe I will change this word. Okay, I am talking about closeness throughout the slide. Suppose something is not closed and this is given to you. And suppose after multiplying by something, you are getting it to be closed. Okay, mu m subscript y is mu n subscript x. Suppose it happens, and expand this. What is mu m subscript y? It is mu y m plus mu my equal to mu x n plus mu nx. Suppose you get a function mu such that this is true. Then such a mu is called an integrating factor, and you would have got a closed equation. And if you are in a nice domain, it is also exact, and you can use your method of exact differential equations to solve it. Okay. Now, the important thing to note is it is not so easy to solve this highlighted thing. This is a difficult equation. You agree? Whether there is a mu such that mu ym plus mu my equal to mu x n plus mu nx is not at all easy to do, because you are dealing with mu and mu x and mu y and m and my and n and nx. That is too many things put together. Okay. So in practice, what you do is you will make a further simplifying assumption that if you are fortunate, in practice, we start by looking for an integrating factor which depends only on x or only on y. What is the advantage? Because coming to this, either mu y is 0 or mu x is 0. So the difficulty of this equation comes down drastically. I'm not saying that if there is an integrating factor, there is such an integrating factor. I'm not saying that. I'm only saying that you will try your luck. Suppose there is an integrating factor which has only one variable in it. That's trying your luck. Okay. So that's what you will do. Suppose mu is a function of x. Then this equation becomes what? If mu is a function of x alone, then this equation
Mu y is 0.
Mu y is 0. So it becomes mu my equal to mu xn plus mu nx, and that is good. That means minus n mu x plus my minus nx times mu is 0. And that is same as saying d mu by dx equal to my minus nx divided by n times mu. And suppose you are really, really lucky. If you are really, really lucky, what will happen now? If you are really lucky, what will happen is this will become a separable equation. For this to become a separable equation, what should happen?
We should send the mu to left side.
Yeah, d mu by mu will be this times dx, but that doesn't make it separable. For it
Y should be a function of x.
This is a function of x alone.
There should be no y term.
So that also is not guaranteed. But suppose, it's really your lucky day. And already one luck happened that, you're assuming such a thing, mu y 0 is okay, and you come here and suppose you got a function of x alone, then are you in good in good state? Yes, because then you have got a separable equation here. You can solve for that and you would have got mu. And if you got mu, then you can multiply by mu, you got an exact equation. A closed equation, assume your domain is good, you got an exact equation and you can solve it. Suppose you do this. Suppose you're assuming mu is a function of x alone. And when you come here, this is not a function of x alone. So you have wasted a little bit of time. How will you go back and redo the calculation?
Mu is a function of y.
Y alone, yes. You go back and check mu is a function of y alone. Come to this stage, hopefully you will get this as a function of y alone, and then you can do. Suppose that also doesn't work. Maybe there is a function mu which is both a function of both x and y, so that this is satisfied, but there is no method for it. That is your smartness, and your more than your smartness, your experience by working out a lot of problems. Okay, so if we really want to ask a difficult question, we might cook up an integrating factor. I mean, we will come to a situation where the integrating factor is not a function of x alone, not a function of y alone. It may have, a function of x and y, which may not be all that difficult, but you might need a lot of practice in order to guess it.
You have to guess the mu, sir.
Hmm?
Did we guess mu in that case?
That is only practice. There's no well-known method. So, many times what will happen in mathematics or physics or engineering or whatever you do, if you spend enough time on it, and if you work out lots and lots of problems, and you start loving your subject, what will happen is there will be, an extra thing which works for you. You must have already seen this when you were preparing for JEE and all that. If you are really passionate about something, some intuition comes, some intuition happens. So I'm not saying I haven't thought about it. I'm just loudly thinking and talking to you. I should be able to cook up a question where those who have practiced a lot of problems will see what the answer is, and just mugging up methods may not work. I'm not saying I will ask such a question, but it should be possible. Okay, I'm just motivating you to work out lots and lots of problems. And how do you get lots and lots of problems? There are some problems in the tutorial sheet. There are some problems in various textbooks. By Googling, you may get, many more problems. But in differential equations and in many other subjects also, there's a way of constructing more and more problems. How will you construct problems which are not there on internet and not there in tutorial sheet?
Take some function and differentiate.
Yes, take some function, cook up, nice differential equation. Then, forget that you have cooked up that thing and solve it on your own. Okay, so this method that I suggest that, try to come up with an exact equation. So why don't you make a question? Try to come up with an equation which will become exact by multiplying with an integrating factor, which is difficult. It should have x and y. I haven't thought about it. Maybe it's not possible. Maybe it is.
We can take an exact and divide it with mu then.
Try. I'm leaving it as an open-ended question. Suppose you are the teacher and I am your student. How will you ask me a difficult question based on this theme? Okay. So cook up a question where integrating factor, both these methods of function of x alone and function of y alone may not work out, but still there's a nice integrating factor, easy integrating factor. Try. Okay, I haven't tried it myself. I'm asking it open-ended so that you have some, challenging things to do. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Let's do an example. Yeah, so this I already said that instead of function of x alone, function of y alone, you can do it analogously. So that's okay. Now let's do one example. And so here is a differential equation. Is it exact or not? Quickly check. So here the domain is nice, whole of R2. So you can just check for closed. What is mx? No, you should check mx or my. My should be nx, right? What is my? What is my? My
8x minus 18.
8x minus 18y. And what is nx?
4x minus
12y.
4x minus 6y.
4x minus 6y.
4x minus 6y. So they're not equals. Therefore, it's not exact. So let's hunt for an integrating factor. So m and n are different. My and nx are different. So it's not exact. So here this conclusion is fine. No, as my not equal to nx, the given ODE is not exact is fine, right?
Yes, sir.
This is fine always. So yeah, I got confused earlier. This is always fine. This direction is always fine regardless of the domain, because exact is always closed. So not closed always means not exact. So this is always fine. And we first try to find an integrating factor depending only upon one variable. So let us do my minus nx by n. So what is my minus nx by n? It is 4x minus 12y by 2x into x minus 3y. And that is 2 by x. And that's a function of x alone. So at this stage itself, you can do both. You can do my minus nx by n and nx minus my by m. At this stage itself, you can check. If one of them is a function of something alone, then you can continue. So by the earlier discussion, you have this separable equation, and solving the separable ODE, you get log mod mu, right? D mu by mu, the integral is log mod mu. And that is equal to 2 2 by x dx, which is log x square. And therefore mu x is x square, and you have got an integrating factor. So multiply throughout by x square. So that's what you have done. Now this is exact. By the way, at this stage, you don't need to check that it is exact, right? Should you check that it is exact once more?
No, sir.
No need,
No, sir.
theoretically. Theoretically, no
Exactly,
need.
right?
But suppose you are in an exam, will you check or will you not check?
Yes, sir. Check it.
We will
In
check.
exam, please do check. Because what if you have made a mistake earlier? If you have not made a mistake, theoretically, it is true. This will be exact, but do check at this stage that it is exact. Because if it's not, then maybe you made a mistake. So to solve this exact ODE, we need to find a u such that this is ux and this is uy. And this
2x power 4y minus.
Oh, you already solved it? Okay. So you're faster than me. So step 1, uxy is this plus ky. Differentiate this with respect to y, you got something. And therefore k prime y is 0. So ky is a constant. Okay. So it's an implicit solution. Last slide. Solve this differential equation. So this is not exact. Why? Because my is -1 and nx is 1 and -1 is not equal to 1. So it's not exact. So take mxy is -y, nxy is x to find an
Divided by x
factor
square
mu.
or y square.
If you take this derivative, this is -2 by y. So what is mx minus my minus nx by n?
Sir, it's a homogeneous.
Here it's also homogeneous. Yes, but
it is variable separable.
yeah, so all those things you can do. So the point of putting this here is just to show that sometimes you have to take function of y alone and not function of x alone, right? Because if you were doing x alone, what is the thing that you tried for x alone? My minus nx by n, right? My minus nx by n. My minus nx by n would be -2 by. Oh, that also works, no? -2 by x. That also would have worked. So by earlier
Plus 2 by
+2 by x, right? That also would have worked. You could have done that way also. So anyway, you get d mu by dy is this, and you got log mod mu is -2 log mod y. So you got mu y is 1 by y square. So this is exact, and therefore you solve this. So you got minus x by y equal -x by y is a constant. That's same as saying x by y is a constant. Okay, so this is my last slide. I have a few minutes. So let me come back and tell you what I left here. Let me ask you, what is the proof of this one? As I said, this is not really part of our syllabus, but it's quite beautiful. So first of all, can you give me quickly one example of a simply connected domain and one example of a domain which is not simply connected? So first, give me an example of a domain which is simply connected.
R3 minus origin.
R3 minus
Origin.
That is an example of simply connected or not simply connected?
Simply connected.
This is simply connected.
Okay. And but if I ask you to give an example of simply connected, you could have given R2 itself, no? Or R3 itself, no?
Yes.
Yes, that would have been an easier example, but you are right. R3 minus 0 also is correct. And what is the advantage of the example that you have given? R3 minus 0 compared to R2 or R3? Because R2, R3, etc. are also convex, whereas R3 minus 0 is not convex, no?
Yes.
Yeah, so that example has the advantage that you are giving a genuine, I mean, in the sense, a non-convex simply connected domain. Okay. And can you give me an example of a domain which is not simply connected?
Annulus.
Annulus, yes. Or R2 minus 0. That is also
R3 minus z-axis.
R3 minus
Z-axis.
One of the axis.
One of the axis.
Yes. All these are examples of non-simply connected domain. In R2, you can just put a puncture. That is not simply connected. Okay.
Sir,
Now,
why not it is not simply connected?
which one?
R2 minus 0.
R2 minus, so what is, yeah, so the question is simply connected, maybe, you know, nobody gave you a definition. People, what is your definition?
We can join 2 point directly
2
without
points?
raising it. I
You
remember
can
like
join 2 points?
Any
in the domain without going outside of our domain name.
No, that is just connectedness. That is not the definition of simply connected.
For simply connected, we just did that we can draw a loop and then we can shorten the loop again and again until we reach a point inside.
You can either take that as the definition, or with slightly more advanced mathematics, one can show that that is same as saying, given any simple closed curve, that is the boundary of a region.
Sir, actually in MA 111 we had a pretty rigorous definition where
Which was what?
They said that if we take any curve and like we can, so if we take a circle in R2, closed disk, so the boundary is mapped to the curve in a sense, then we can extend the function to the entire interior region.
Okay.
Like to a continuous function. Like I don't remember the exact.
Fine. But this is a topic at this level. It's best to do it intuitively, and you can take the following as the definition. Not rigorous, but intuitive. If you have a simple closed curve, then you can obtain, you know, the boundary, right? If you have a region, you have the definition of a boundary. Now, given a curve, which is nice, simple, close, whatever, is it the boundary? You ask the question, is it the boundary of a region in your domain? If the answer is yes, for any such curve, then it is simply connected. Now, if you apply this, if you take R2 minus 0, and if I take the unit circle, for example, can you get that as the boundary of a domain in R2 minus 0?
Not all.
Sir?
No, right? Because if you take, you know, if you take an annulus kind of a thing, and if you take the boundary boundary is the outer circle together with that punctured point, and that is not, so it's you're not getting the unit circle as the boundary. Okay, so this is equivalent to one of the definitions somebody else just recalled, that if you take a closed curve, it can be continuously changed in order to get to a point. Okay, more rigorously we cannot do at this time, but with one of these definitions, you can give a quote-unquote proof of the fact that curl free is grad if you are in a simply connected domain using Green's theorem. Can one of you recall that proof also from calculus? Maybe I should even stop recording because this is not part of what we are doing in this course, but okay, let it be. Yeah. Can one of you recall? What is Green's theorem? There are some hypotheses, continuously differentiable, and maybe there is something about positively oriented, etc. But finally, what do you have? The equation and identity in Green's theorem.
Line integral of a function over a boundary is same as the surface integral of curl of the function.
On the domain. And we are assuming that what is given to you is curl free. Right?
Then curl becomes 0 for every surface we take, and hence.
No, sir, it need not be curl free.
No, we are going to prove curl free is grad on a simply connected domain. So assume it is curl free, you have to show that it is a grad. That's what we are trying to do.
Any closed curve will have a 0 line integral of the.
Yes. So one side of the Green's theorem, the answer is 0 because you are assuming it is curl free. Curl is 0, right? And therefore, by Green's theorem, the line integral is 0. Agree? Line integral of this particular. So some pdx plus qdy, right? This particular vector field, and the line integral is 0 where? Line integral is 0 on the boundary, no?
Yes, and for any domain.
Yeah, yes. Now, you know, you take any closed curve, because you are on a simply connected domain, you can realize that as the boundary of a region. Okay, you start this way. You take any closed curve, you realize it as the boundary of a region, apply Green's theorem now, you conclude that the line integral is 0 because curl is 0, other side is 0. So what you have concluded is on any closed curve, the line integral is 0. What does that mean?
It is a conservative.
Yeah, it is a gradient of something, right? This is something that you would have already proved, that path independence implies, right? If on any closed curve, if the line integral is 0, that means line integral is path independent, right? If you take any 2 points and if you join it in 2 different paths, the work done, the line integral is independent of the path. So what you have shown us, line integral is independent of path, and you already would have shown by that time that if the line integral is independent of path, then the vector field is a gradient. So that's how you conclude. That's where the domain is coming into the picture. Anyway, as I said, you don't need to know these things for our course. Okay, so let me stop recording. Where do I stop recording? Oh, no, I have to stop sharing maybe in order to stop recording. So let me stop sharing. Now I can see the button stop recording. So stop recording.